We're just going to go through, actually, first thing is how the app kind of scores points, and then how we decided the winners for the competition. Probably maybe do a live demo at the end, and then we'll go through the prizes and runners up. And then we've also got the people that didn't win. We've got a kind of a chance to sort of win again, and then we're just going to go through features and roadmap. So, just quickly, why did we build ConsentModeMonitor? So we noticed that there's lots of sites using Google Tag Manager, like in this case, 91% of the sites on the internet use GTM. It's a massive kind of tech adopter to allow for remarketing, Google Analytics 4, and a bunch of other technology to be rapidly deployed without requiring IT involvement. And also, we're a massive fan of SiteBeam's kind of crawling tools. So Nibbler is a good one. They've also got a great accessibility tool, and as well as CookieBot's kind of web scanner, where they do like a free kind of scan and help you kind of stay compliant and monitor every month or so. But we're aware that the industry is moving to server side, and it's more easier or better to actually run a TMS scanner, not just a web scanner. So a TMS scanner is where you parse or digest the Google Tag Manager configuration file, not just the scan of the whole website. And also, if you're logged in, you can actually scan a server-side container as well. So, and also get a kind of more accurate sort of scan. So, the ConsentModeMonitor is really solving that problem of this industry shift to kind of server-side and rapid and fast scanning and detecting of compliance problems. Because if you know about a problem faster, then you can fix it faster. So this, in terms of where the industry is moving, you can kind of see the focus GTM is moving over to server side here. These are the count of kind of changes, and client side changes are gradually kind of reducing, shifting server side. And this is a count of new features added by GTM client side versus GTM server side. And in terms of like awards, I know we're the intention here is to announce the winner of usage of our app kind of award, but our app itself has won runner-up in 2 awards for Digital Growth Award twice, and we've actually got 5 apps. This is the 5th one. We've got a GTM Grader, GTM Cleaner, GA4 Migrator, and a Chrome extension. And there's actually a new Chrome extension we're going to launch for ConsentModeMonitor soon. So this is like 5th in the list. In terms of the demo of the app, I'm probably just going to put a link or email attendees the sort of demo. What I would say, if you want a very quick kind of demo, if you go over to ConsentModeMonitor, which I'm just going to put a link in chat to, and it's got a test account down there, and also it says Zara.com. If I click on that Zara.com, it shows me a quick kind of test or cache test of Zara.com, which is currently on -10. Actually, because this is a cached one, so we need to update this. I checked Zara prior to this call, and actually it looks like they've made an additional change. They've added TikTok recently, but forgotten to add consent to TikTok. So they've actually got the TikTok tag here without a consent mode category being set. So that should be in ad storage. And TikTok happens to be a gatekeeper, so it's kind of a slightly higher level of compliance that are needed. So that's why it's changed from 10 up to 14. So, or if you want an example of what bad looks like, there's a demo account here where you can put that ID in, and the -139 is the worst possible score you can get. So 0 is good, -139 is bad. So please check out our tool. It's totally free to run scans of your site without being logged in, or competitors' sites. And also, if you're less than 10, then it's also free to get monthly monitoring. We're probably also going to introduce slightly faster monitoring soon. It's currently on weekly as the fastest. We're going to introduce daily pretty soon. But I'll put a link to attendees for a more detailed kind of live walkthrough there. If you click the login button in the app in the top right, you'll get a more detailed scan. Whoops, I'm going to skip that. Oops. Okay, so in terms of how the app calculates the score, 0 is good, -4 is bad. So if you've added a classification, let's say you've added Facebook or LinkedIn and you've added an ad storage classification, which you need to prevent those tags firing without consent, then you'll get a 0. If you've forgotten to add those classifications, which happens a lot, especially on LinkedIn and Facebook, then it will be minus -2 if it's a tag like Pinterest, or -4 if it's TikTok or Facebook who are gatekeepers. So here's an example going back to that example from uh, um, Zara. They actually had Pinterest here, which is -2, and then TikTok, which is -4, but they actually had one TikTok tag and 5 Pinterest tags. So the total kind of negative score they get is actually 1 times -4 and 5 times -2. So they get -14 total. So that's how you get to that -14 kind of number. It's the sum of how bad they are times by the volume. So it's kind of important you understand that, because obviously if you're trying to clean up tags and fix an account, that's how we determine how bad it is. Uh, Generally, in terms of distributions, 10 to 20 are reasonably good, but obviously less than 10 is much better. You can see distributions here. Average here, that's like 10-ish or so. There's a handful of really bad accounts in here, but the vast majority are kind of between the 10s and 20s sort of thing in terms of negative scores. But you really want to be on 0, as in you've got no compliance issues. So that's how we determine the scores. What we've done is, for users that have kind of opted into benchmarking, of which there is now a setting to opt in. So in the top right, I'm just going to log in for a second. I've just signed into the app, and there's now a setting in here. Oops. I think it's maybe just running a scan. There's a setting for opt in to benchmarking, and you can also overwrite your name. So if you want to be anonymous, user one, and I'm just gonna, so assuming you've either opted in or replied to an email saying, yes, I want to be opted into benchmarking, or reply to a Slack message, then you're kind of in the list to kind of win for the competition. And okay, the and for the app itself, by the way, for any sites that have got less than 10 on their score, it's basically free forever. So if you're less than 10, it would never charge you anything for dynamic pricing or automatic monitoring, or you can just do manual checking, and again, it will always be free. And that's for both the competitors one, your one, or the logged in one. 1 second, my mouse has gone weird. Sorry about my cough. Okay, so in terms of the winners of the competition, the criteria were you had to have 10 accounts or 10 containers or more, log in recently, and then in terms of the weightings of the scores, if you had more GTM containers, we gave you a higher kind of weighting or sort of weighted average because it's more difficult to get a good score. If you've got 100 accounts, you've got to clean up 100 accounts. If you've only got 20 accounts, then less work to do. And also we've sorted via mean average, i.e. ascending or zero is better, minus 339 is bad or worse. So that's the criteria. So you can see on here, this is the anonymous users. This is the counts of number of scans and uh, um, the so here we've got user number one, 23 scans. They've got obviously more than 10 containers, so they're eligible for the competition. And they've got they've logged in recently, and they're high in terms of the weighting of number of containers here. So there's one here for 95 on 47 containers, one for 100 on 66. So we basically sorted via rank, i.e. 1 out of 20, and then given that a rough weighting. And then we've taken the mean average score. So the sum of recency plus number of containers in the account plus the average score, that's how we get to the combined score to pick the winner. So you can see that the user number one here, they've got logged in recently, they've got a decent number of containers, i.e. 23 containers, and the score, their mean average score is zero. You can't get better than zero. Even though they've got one account in there that's -6. So their average is still really good. So that's how they've got a blended kind of weighting of 81%, i.e. they jumped to the top of the list on the leaderboard here. So we have made just one or two exceptions to the rule here. We did notice that some brands don't necessarily have 10 containers. So obviously agency accounts tend to have more containers in their account because they're managing clients. So there's one account here, they've only got 3 containers, maybe 3 countries or 3 areas of the site. So we've made an exception to that rule because of the fact that they're a kind of a brand. Okay, and cool. So we're going to give €100 to the top 4 users that were sorting based off that methodology. So you get €100. So Will's going to reach out to you and ask what you want, where to send that €100 to, or an Amazon voucher or just cash. And you also get 1 year free access to the tool. That's unlimited access. So well done, you people, for scoring well. However, I guess kind of I don't really have a drum roll to hand, Will, but everyone's wondering who was the winner, who was the user number one, i.e. who scored the best in this account, who's got an average of 0, i.e. properly managing their accounts very well, no compliance issues, and managing lots of accounts. And regularly kind of using the tool or logging in. So drum roll, please, Will. Okay, so the winner is, so it's John Woods from Sharp Ahead. So John scored very well on that list, better than everyone else. And so John wins the €500 and also 1 year free access to the app. I did ask John what he wanted, where he wanted me to send that money, but actually, yeah, he was a founder of an agency, and his co-founder actually suffered from a heart attack a few years ago, and it's a really kind of a story of you really need to kind of look after your health, and it's not important to eat well, and really kind of sometimes take a step back from working and focus on what's important. So he asked me to actually donate this money to the British Heart Foundation, so that they can kind of stop other kind of agency owners and people from kind of suffering from heart attacks and or taking preventative measures, i.e. always having an aspirin nearby or uh, um, uh, um, uh, eating more healthily or getting cholesterol checked. He's asked me to donate that money to British Heart Foundation, which I'm going to do kind of after this call, so that they can positively prevent other people suffering from the same kind of problems that his friend kind of suffered from. A good gesture there, John. For those of you that didn't win the 500 euros or the €100 or through access to the app, you've still got a chance of winning. So for the people that scored the worst, i.e., have some accounts that need improving, there's good news. Well, first off, we're going to give out five sort of free licenses to the worst five in the list. So any that have scored like minus 132 or minus 136. Good news, you need access to the tool. We're just going to give it to you for free for 1 year. You definitely need it. And the other good news is we're going to rerun these scores in 2 weeks' time. So actually, if you're on minus 132, we're going to run a most improved competition. So actually, you've got probably the biggest chance of improving if you are on those sort of numbers. So we're going to reach out privately to those individuals and let them know they've got a free access to our scanner and help them kind of improve those scores. I think from this exercise, I would generally say a lot of feedback we get is people don't often realize there's a particular tag that's missing consent or like it's got added and forgotten about, or they haven't regularly kind of checked it. So the aim really of the app is really just to improve awareness and kind of tell you if you got like spinach in your teeth. It's obviously much better for the app or us to tell you rather than either a regulator or worse in America, it could be a sort of privacy hawk. Just one note about America. In California, there's been the good news for California is there's an exemption for businesses that's going to kick in 6 months' time. It's an update to the CCPA, which is great. So any wiretapping and privacy regulation lawsuits don't need to worry about them in 6 months' time. The bad news is there's going to be an absolute flurry of these privacy hawks going after big brands. We're talking like 25 million or above brands. So there's a huge need at the moment in America to please use our tool and run these scans. Make sure your defenses are really kind of strong for the next 6 months because it's going to get a bit crazy. All these privacy hawks are basically going to try and get in a lawsuit before the door closes on 1st of January next year. Because the historic removal bit, which was meant to be part of the amendment to CCPA under SB 290, got removed last week. So actually, if you get a lawsuit between now and the next 6 months, it counts and can't be removed. So please sort out your compliance, especially if you've got a large number of users from California. So that's everything for Matt for now. I'm going to just play the demo video about our app after this and probably gargle some water. And also I probably should mention about our app. So it's totally free to run manual scans. And if you've got less than 10, it's free. Also, if you're a regulator or a non-profit or a charity, it's completely free for you to use as well. You've got to message us to say, yes, I'd like a free account. We kind of feel that charities such as British Heart Foundation and others, we'd rather you spend money on helping people rather than pay money for government fines and etc. So you get it for free as well. And also we're just generally after feedback, like what did you think of the app? Was it useful? What could we improve? What would we build next? As I said, there's a Chrome extension coming around the corner. and also we're gonna probably make daily scanning, move it forward. Currently it's on weekly and monthly here. So we just got to sort of check in terms of the impact of that on GCP kind of costs, but watch this space in terms of that scanning frequency. So with that, I'm just going to jump over to a video just to play the explainer for the app. Oh, and I should also probably mention that the reason we've done the prices in the way that we have is that it's to mirror the fines that exist for 4% of global revenue for GDPR and 10% for Digital Marketing Act. So this 4 or 10 points per fine here for this these kind of scores of okay, medium, and bad, there to try and get people to align with how much exposure or how much risk are you at. If you trigger the 10 euros fine per point, you're in a bad zone. You really need to kind of pull your socks up and clean up the GTM account, i.e. you're in a kind of worse offender zone. So the good news is if you move down a tier, you pay a lot less. And if you move into the light offender, you pay nothing. So we've done that intentionally to encourage people to focus, because we generally find that people tend to only take action when there's a big stick. But in this case, this stick of 10 euros versus 10% of global revenue is a lot less. So ours is kind of a small stick compared to what you'd actually get from a regulator or a class action. So we think it's kind of better to get to know rather than not know. So especially if you're on like a minus 120 or their kind of zone. So I'm just going to play the app video just so you can see how that works, and I'm just going to stop this recording.
Consent mode implemented correctly on
it's
your
working now.
Consent mode is a Google privacy framework. It facilitates transparency for users and more accurate conversion tracking for marketers. Incorrect deployment contributes to non-compliance with privacy regulations and could result in fines of up to 4% of global revenue per year for violating GDPR or 10% for violating the DMA. Your ads and remarketing campaigns would stop, and it would be a PR nightmare. But this is avoidable. Our free tool, ConsentModeMonitor, is the fastest way to audit and fix cookie compliance issues for GDPR, DMA, CCPA, and more. Here's how it works. Navigate to app.consentmodemonitor.com, enter your website's URL or GTM container ID, and click the Check My Website button. It'll start scanning your GTM container, and you'll receive a full compliance report within 2 minutes. To view the report, enter your email, check this box, and hit the Get Results button. On the report page, affected tags will be grouped by consent categories. You don't need to fix them manually, just click this Fix Consent button. To apply fixes, you'll need to log in with an email that has editor-level access to the GTM container you're modifying. Once logged in, you can scan all your containers with this button or individual ones with these buttons. Once you find a container with issues, hit this Fix button. In seconds, a new workspace will be created in Google Tag Manager, automatically adding missing classifications to every tag. A pop-up message will confirm that with a link to your newly created GTM workspace. Review the changes one by one. Once you've checked everything, hit Publish. You now have consent mode enabled properly on your marketing tags. The only cost is if you want monthly monitoring and automatic fixes, otherwise it's 100% free. Compliance isn't just about avoiding fines, it's more about protecting user trust in your brand. ConsentModeMonitor ensures compliance with GDPR, DMA, CCPA, VCDPA, and UCPA, so you can focus on what truly matters. Don't risk legal troubles or marketing campaign disruptions. Use ConsentModeMonitor to scan and fix your website's compliance for free.
Okay, that's everything. Thanks, everyone. And we're going to send a follow-up email with further information. Right, bye.